Brother Ben. So, what I want to do now is just continue on from the last video, talking a little bit about how states of mind are brought about relative to samsara and relative also to something called, the application of practice. So in this case, I had someone who was asking me about doubt. So we're going to have a look about that. So doubt, typically, you can have doubts about yourself. Am I right? Am I wrong? Is this good for me? Am I good enough? Is it right? I don't know. Am I doing it all wrong? Am I, blah, blah. That kind of doubt. You can have doubts about the group that you're with. Are they ganging up on me? Is it the right group? Should I leave? Should I go somewhere else? Am I fitting in here? You can have doubts about your teacher. Do they really know the right way? Or can this really work? Or are they ripping us off? Doubts about technique. Hear someone else say, no, that's not the right way. We're doing it the right way. Should I be doing yoga? Should I be doing, acupressure? Should I be doing acupuncture? Should I be doing something else? The technique, and you can have doubts about the Buddha. So, was he real? I don't know if he was real at all. Maybe I should be better. So maybe, I don't know, I'm not sure, is it right, is it wrong, is it good, am I bad? So doubt. So the opposite of doubt in Pali is called vicikicca, and the opposite of that is saddha, which is faith, which is also the sat part, is, I was told, upholding goodness. Right, so you can read a lot of texts and you still don't know. You can hear a lot of Dhamma talks and you still don't know. So that isn't necessarily the way to resolve these things. With our practice, we have a sequence of doing at the minute kasina practice, just visualizing a sphere and then the environment around, and then moving on to focusing on the breathing, and then focusing on the abdomen rising and falling, the sitting body, touching points, and then metta. So the way this works, particularly in the section of insight meditation, when we're doing rising, falling, sitting, touching, awareness of hearing, awareness of warmth, awareness of planning, falling, rising, falling, awareness of imagining, awareness of hearing, and falling, rising, falling, sitting, touching. So that section, when you're doing a lot of noting exactly what is, removes doubt if it's done properly. Because when you only note precisely what the mind has in its awareness, then you're simply saying what is. Awareness of touching, awareness of temperature, awareness of unpleasant feeling, awareness of swallowing, awareness of rising, awareness of falling, awareness of sponginess, awareness of pressure, awareness of movement. So those kinds of knowing are absolutely without doubt. Okay? So that is different to not knowing. So in not knowing, it might be something that sounds like, I'm not sure, but if I go off and read it, perhaps what I read in the book could be right. And then I can think about it. So that's a kind of cogitation and mulling over and then thrashing through. That's information, but it's actually a form of not knowing. You're starting with not knowing. So then that can lead also to wanting to know, wanting more information, wanting the answer. Okay, so it's based on not knowing. And this is, of course, part here is craving. Then we also have our old friend attachment. Here, which will be fixed on that mythical point in the future when you're going to be knowing something, which you're not. So you'll be, fixed on an idea or a theory or something. But we break this cycle, we cut this cycle here with awareness of thinking, awareness of imagining, awareness of seeing, by awareness of in the present moment. And then the wanting to know gets cut there. Because you're not anymore wanting to know, you're just knowing. Instead of not knowing, you're knowing in the sense of just awareness. And then the attachment gets cut because you just drop this, until I get that book, I won't know. Until I get on that university course, I won't know. Yeah? Delayed in the future. So, there we have it. Let's just take a quick shot of that. So when you have those conditions there, it doesn't lead to this vortex of neediness, which is called bhavo, the empty quality, the hungry, needy, wanting, the vortex of the vacuum. Okay, when you do have this, then you have that doubt aspect there. All right. So that's just enough for now. So this that I've been doing here, these are parts of the dependent origination. So number one is this, which is called avijja, or not knowing, or knowing wrongly. That's called avijja. So this is number one. Number two, and it's not all here, but there's a lot of it is here, which is this, which is called sankhara, sankhara has a number of different meanings, but it's the idea of these constructed or fabricated or conjoined states. So it's not just one thing. Doubt is part of it, but doubt will be linked with a few things. There's not there's the doubt mind state, but it also affects what you will be focusing on. So that might be a person, or it might be the community. So the state of mind can be doubt, but then you're going to be focusing on. So you've got the focal part. And to have focus, you must have attention. And with attention, you need to have some kind of intention. And to have all of those things, your brain and mind and everything has to have a bit of battery power to it. You actually have to have kind of a life going on. So all of those things are conjoined together, and conjoined is sankhara. There are other things in here as well. There is the willpower that goes with it, the aiming of the mind, the sustaining of interest, and the decisions and the interest and the effort that goes into it. Those things are also combined in this part, which I'll talk about in a later video. So all of those things can be focused on, something, a person, or people, or a book, and so on. So this first part, we say that avijja paccaya sankhara. And that sankhara, all of this put together, that what's made is dependent on this bhavo state. If you don't have bhavo, you won't have all of this put together. And the bhavo is dependent on attachment. And the attachment is also codependent with craving. In this case, we were talking about craving to know, or, are they spying on me? Kind of thing. If it's this kind of thing where you have doubt, maybe about the doubt about the community that you're with or something like that. In this case, we've got that. So craving is there. All right, so it looks a little bit messy there, but I'm just going to take a quick screenshot so I can save these slides as they are. Let's move on. So, with dependent origination, it's often, it's often shown as or usually shown as a kind of circle, but that kind of indicates that it's like a fan whirring down. It's not really kind of like that. What it is more to do with this triangle, which is samsara, with this one here, avijja, and this one here, which is the tanha. And tanha, there's not only one, there's three. Wanting to be, wanting to not be, or wanting to be or wanting something to be, wanting to not be or wanting something not to be, and then craving some sensation. So there's three tanhas. In order for those to be there, you need to have this thing which is upadana, which is the attachment. And when that's there, you have bhavo, which is the potential. And when the potential is there, these things that I've been describing, this sort of constructed mess that comes up, which might be ego, and it might be conceit, and it might be jealousy and envy, and it might be desires, and it might be hatred, and it might be depression and lack of energy, but it might be worry, and it might be doubt. So this one, today we focused on one of them in here called doubt. So those are the primary negative mind states. And those are going to make you feel somehow. Either in your mind or in your body, they're going to make you feel somehow. And you're either going to feel really good, or you're going to feel really bad, or you're going to feel kind of neutral. So that can be in the body, or you can feel really bad in the mind, or you can feel really neutral in the mind, or you can feel really great in the mind. So there's outcomes. So this is called Vedana. All right? And somehow it has to get over there. And you have to actually you can't have just feelings on their own. You have to have eyes that see things that make you feel that way. You have to have ears. You have to have a nose that smells them and go, wow, I've got to have some of these pancakes at home. How am I going to get them? So you start the craving. Or you might have some sort of massage, or you might have a great idea, or enjoying a movie, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there should be 6 of these, and these are all the 6 sense doors that you have there. And each of these has also has with it a consciousness. Eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness, or mind, ideas consciousness. And these are also linked. And then you have this thing like a focal aim. So focus is on the eye, or on the ear, or on the body, or on the thoughts. And then you have attention, you have intention, and you have the battery power of the mind, is the energy of the mind. And then you have the aiming and the sustaining. And then you have the effort. And then you have willpower, you have decision, and you have interest. So these also sometimes come and go. So that's just a little brief outline of how, when you have this thing called samsara, this triangle, the samsara vata, it will create this condition called bhavo. And bhavo creates the conditions for things to happen. These potentials. And in this case, we're just looking at the unwholesome ones. There's also the potential, if you don't have the unwholesome ones, you're going to have a whole lot of their opposite, these lovely, good, happy mind states that would happen. And if you do have these, like desire and you have anger, it's got to have an object. So through our sense doors, we see objects that we have those feelings about, or places, or things, or books, or whatever it is. Okay, so that's a little introduction about how that. It's a rough guide, a little bit of an introduction for you about how it applies. Okay, so this is Brother Ben just signing off for a little bit about dependent origination and the mind states and how the practice comes in. So practice comes in, awareness of seeing, awareness of touching, awareness of feeling, awareness of disliking. When you make that noting, you have knowing, awareness of, not unawareness. Unawareness churns around and around and around and around and creates the potential for those states of mind. All right? So let's not have that. Let's have a bit of daily practice. Let's make sure that we tune up our mindfulness and then avoid that happening. So may you be all free from avoidable suffering.